Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a story that many of us heard as kids, but its lesson is more relevant than ever in our modern world. It's the tale of the shepherd boy and the wolf. A story about trust, consequences, and the high price of a lie. So grab a comfy seat, and let's explore why this ancient fable still resonates so deeply. Imagine a young shepherd boy living a simple life on a quiet hillside, watching over the village flock. The days were long, the sun was warm, and the sheep were, well, they were just sheep. They grazed, they bleated, and they didn't offer much in the way of exciting conversation. The boy grew bored. He yearned for some excitement, a little drama to break up the monotony of his daily routine. So, he came up with a plan. A mischievous, ill-advised plan. He took a deep breath, cupped his hands round his mouth, and shouted towards the village below with all his might. Wolf. Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep. The villagers, hearing his desperate cries, dropped their tools, left their homes, and sprinted up the hill, armed with pitchforks and clubs, ready to defend their flock. They arrived, breathless and anxious, only to find nothing. The boy was standing there, laughing. There was no wolf. The sheep were peacefully munching on grass. The villagers were not amused. They grumbled, shook their heads at the boy's foolish prank, and trudged back down the hill, annoyed at the wasted time and effort. The boy, however, found it hilarious. He had finally gotten the attention he craved. A few days later, the boredom crept back in. The quiet bleating of the sheep and the gentle rustle of the wind were no longer enough. The memory of the villager's frantic rush was just too tempting. So, he did it again. Wolf, wolf. He screamed, his voice echoing through the valley. And again, the good-hearted villagers, thinking maybe this time it was real, rushed up the hill to help. Once again, they found the boy laughing at them. This time, their anger was palpable. They warned him sternly, "We are busy people. Don't cry wolf when there is no wolf. If you keep lying, no one will believe you when you tell the truth." They left him there, their trust in him completely shattered. The boy just shrugged. He didn't understand the gravity of what he had done. He had broken a fragile, invisible bond with his community. Then, one evening, as the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the fields, something truly terrifying happened. A real wolf, large and grey with hungry eyes, emerged from the edge of the forest. It wasn't a prank this time. The wolf lunged towards the flock, scattering the panicked sheep in every direction. The boy was frozen with genuine fear. He finally found his voice and screamed, louder and more desperately than ever before. "Wolf, wolf, there's a real wolf. Please, help me." His cries were filled with pure terror. Down in the village, the people heard him, but this time, they just sighed and shook their heads. "Oh, it's just that silly boy again," one said. "He won't fool us a third time," said another. They ignored his pleas and continued with their evening chores. Up on the hill, the boy was all alone. No one came. He watched in horror as the wolf wreaked havoc on the flock he was supposed to protect. When the wolf had finally had its fill and disappeared back into the woods, the boy was left sitting among the devastation, sobbing. He had cried for help, told the absolute truth, but because of his previous lies, nobody believed him. Later that night, when the boy didn't return, the villagers grew worried. They went up the hill with lanterns and found him weeping. "Why didn't you come?" he cried. "I told you there was a wolf," and it was true. An old, wise villager put a hand on his shoulder and said softly, "Nobody believes a liar, my boy, even when he is telling the truth." This story is so much more than a simple children's fable. It's a powerful lesson about the currency of trust. Trust is like a savings account. Every time you tell the truth, you make a deposit. Every time you lie, you make a withdrawal. If you keep making withdrawals, you'll eventually find your account empty, right when you need it most. In our world of social media, fake news and constant information, our word is our bond. Our credibility is one of the most valuable assets we have, whether it's in our personal relationships, our professional lives, or our online interactions. Being truthful builds a foundation of reliability. When people know they can count on your word, it creates strong, lasting connections. The shepherd boy learned his lesson in the most painful way possible. He lost his community's trust and, as a result, a large part of the flock. It reminds us that our actions have consequences and that a reputation for honesty is incredibly hard to build, but so very easy to destroy. So, what can we take away from this? It's about thinking before we speak or act. It's about understanding that even small, harmless lies can erode the trust others have in us. Let us strive to be people whose yes means yes and whose no means no. Let's build our own accounts of trust so high that when we truly need help, or when we have something important to say, people will listen. Thank you so much for joining me for this story today. I hope it gave you something to think about. What lessons do you take from the story of the shepherd boy? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to read your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more stories and reflections. Until next time, take care and be true to your word.